Have you ever heard your parents or grandparents talk about how business used to be done, or the value of somebody's handshake, or how they could count on somebody at their word? If they said they were going to do it, they were going to do it. But I want to think you to think about your team right now. When's the last time you asked them to do something and you could count on it being done? I want to share with you this secret sauce of getting productivity. And you're going to be surprised because it's not anything that you think it is. There's research that says if we word our goals in certain ways, it's going to be more attainable. If we make them measurable, we'll be able to visualize where we're going. That's all great. And sure, having good goals and being able to measure those goals is really necessary. However, one of the big issues is that it's missing the primary piece: relationship. The way you meet goals, hit productivity standards is through relationship and the lack of relationship. And that's why I'm here. My name is Kristin Martinez, and I'm an expert in systems theory. I work to create creative solutions to tweak relationships at corporations and organizations to get them working, to get them functional, and get them productive. I'm not here to help you squeeze every last penny out of your staff members. But what I am here to do is help keep your staff engaged, motivated, and feeling like they're a part of the mission, because the mission is a part of them. I've really struggled in this area because my relationship building has struggled, partly because I'm neurodivergent, partly because I feel like I have other things to do, partly because there is a push in our society to separate ourselves from our relationships at work. So whether or not we want to bring it into work or take our work home with us, the reality is that the relationships that we create on a daily basis, whether they're at work or at home, shape and form what we do and how we do it. What I'm saying is that we need to recreate relationships to have more fulfillment, more excitement at work. It doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to feel like everybody's out to get something or to drip you dry of every last ounce of productivity that you have. In fact, I'd say that the creation of relationship is actually what notices other people as humans. It's in that relationship that we pause and we stop and we say, I'm not going to push you right now. I'm not going to ask that of you right now. In fact, I might not actually try and sell you something because our relationship just isn't there yet. We haven't built the trust, the respect, or the reliability that's necessary in functional relationships. So come with me on this journey and let's start learning how to rebuild relationship in genuine ways. So much though that you don't actually feel like you have to leave work at the office, because when it's relationship, it's less work and more fun. If somebody doesn't love who they work with, then they're never really going to meet productivity on a consistent, ongoing basis. They're going to get burned out more easily because they don't have that internal motivation to meet the goal. Not only do we have to build relationship with people, we also have to find out what drives them. Why are they in that job right now? And that driving factor is going to be unique and individual for every single staff member. Have them take a personality test and you'll quickly learn that you are very different from them. And it's okay. And it's what makes teams work. And they might not have the solutions that you have, but they have solutions. And our job as leaders is to use our relationship to tap into those special talents and skills of the people around us. To be able to say, hey, I am not good at this, but you are good at this, and I want to learn how. I want to hear your creative solutions to my big problem. And when we build relationship, I want you to think of your first relationship, the parental relationship. And what makes that secure, loving environment? 3 specific feelings: feeling seen, feeling successful, and feeling special. That's right. You want to be seen for who you are. You want to feel like you're doing things the right way or the good way, or you're being creative. You want to hear the positive things about yourself. And finally, you want to feel special. You want to feel individual and different from everyone else. So appreciation emails, see you next week, because It just doesn't work. What people want is to feel uniquely seen and enter into an engaging one-on-one relationship. That is both on the micro level relationship and the macro scale of the company. That means the corporation or company's relationship with its staff members, the company's relationships with individual people within the corporation, and individual relationships within that organization. So you have the leader engaging in relationship, team members engaging in relationship, departments engaging in relationship. All of this relationship building sometimes is really hard to manage. And that's where I come in. And I want to help you and your organization create meaningful relationship that drives performance and is able to problem solve and fix problems when they arise. Relationships at the workplace are so hard for so many of us because the reality is that relationships in our lives are difficult. Most of us don't grow up in homes or in communities where we know that our relationships are safe, where we can trust them. Or maybe we did grow up in those spaces, but we had experiences as we grew up or in our other workplaces where we've learned to be cautious within those relationships and not to put our everything into those relationships. At my first job, I was so excited and I was so eager to show my best self. I worked 60 to 80 hours a week. I holed myself in my office, my cubicle, doing notes for hours. I isolated myself. I immersed myself into study. And while those helped me improve my craft and what I did as a living, what it didn't do was help me build relationship within the community. I began to become resentful. I felt unseen. I felt unsuccessful. And I felt like I was just another number, replaceable. There were new grads coming out of school, and if I didn't meet those numbers, then I was out. Because there was nothing that I saw or was told was making me stand out from the rest. There was nothing I knew how to capitalize on. I just figured, work hard, work hard, work hard. But that's the same exact pattern I did growing up. Work hard and maybe they'll notice me. Do my best and maybe I'll get some praise. And that played out in the exact same way in my workplace. Until one day I was in a group supervision. And I still remember this supervisor. His name was Scott. Actually didn't really care for him that much. But during this supervision, they were talking about a really complex abuse case. And that is what I specialize in. And I spent so much time working on it. And I didn't think anybody realized the breadth of knowledge and my experience in working with children who were in these particular circumstances. So I was in the corner of the table, doodling as I did, ignoring most of the things that were being said during the supervision, kind of having that attitude of I'm better than everyone else, but at the same time, I actually really think that I suck and, all of that. Until I heard my name come up in the supervision. They were like, who's really good at this? Kristen. For the first time in my career at that particular location, I felt like I was different than the other staff members. I had something unique to offer, a skill set that was valuable. It was identified, it was called out. I felt seen, successful, and special. And with that moment, I think it transformed my stay at that particular company. In fact, I went on to stay 7 years at that company. I left one time to another place that was absolutely toxic, and in a week I came back. And then I started my own company. So I went from that company to my own company because of how much they ended up making me feel seen, successful, and special. And so I'm here to give back. I want you all to learn the value of relationship and the value of helping your staff feel seen, successful, and special. And doing that through relationship and my method, the stable method. I'm Kristin Martinez, leadership expert, systems theory extraordinaire, and I'm here at your service to help you create value in your relationships at work, at home, and in every single place you want to show up.